Hello guys and welcome back. This is Smiles from Swiss Crypto Podcast, and in today's episode I'm going to talk about an important person from an important country saying something very important about a crypto or blockchain project. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Steve Mnuchin, Secretary of the US Treasury, has no issue with the launch of the Facebook-led Libra project as long as financial rules are followed. I'm fine if Facebook wants to create a digital currency, but they need to be fully compliant with financial secrecy and anti-money laundering rules, or AML, he said Thursday, according to a Bloomberg report. In no way can this be used for terrorist financing. Mnuchin was speaking in Washington, D.C. at a hearing of the House Financial Services Committee in response to a question from a lawmaker. Since Libra was announced in June, Mnuchin indicated he's met with Facebook a dozen times to talk over regulatory concerns. That slowed the pace of the payment project's move toward launch, he said. Libra will be a stablecoin for payments through Facebook platforms and other wallets and products, and it's likely to be packed to a basket of national currencies and government bonds, etc., etc. I'm pretty sure you already know where this is going. I had quite a negative stance on talking about the Libra project because it was very hyped in other news channels, on news sites. Everybody was talking about Libra when it came out, when it was clear that Facebook is really working on something like a cryptocurrency. It's not a cryptocurrency for the few that don't know that, it's just a digital currency. But here I am now with an episode probably or mainly about Libra and where it's going to go in the future. What I wanted to talk about, and I think that's very important, is the stances of different countries to the Libra project. Let aside if Libra really is a good thing or not, if Libra fits into the cryptocurrency space as a digital currency, which is very centralized in a company that already misused consumer information. You get my stance on Facebook and its Libra project. Let that all aside. Most of the countries here in Europe where I live have had and still have a quite negative stance on the Libra project, and there have already been big countries like France, and I'm not sure if Germany also goes into that basket, who bans the future use of Facebook's Libra project. Now, with this article that is mainly talking about the US's stance, Steve Mnuchin's stance on the Libra project, I wanted to talk a little bit about the sentiment that we get from the US. Since the US is one of the major players in the cryptocurrency space, I think we all see that a lot of people, a lot of adoption going on there, but we still don't have clear regulatory framework when it comes to cryptocurrencies. We don't know exactly how the government thinks about cryptocurrencies, how they want to tax it, if it complies with AML, yada, yada, yada. You get what I want to say. For that, the US is a very important country in that huge space. It is not really doing its part when it comes to regulation. That's what I want to say. And now we hear from Steve Mnuchin, the Secretary of the US Treasury, that they actually don't think that it's a bad idea to launch Libra, or that their stance is not very negative on Libra, as long as Facebook or Calibra, the association behind the Libra project, are following AML and anti-terrorist financing laws. We've heard that from a lot of countries, from a lot of big institutions, especially from the US, but also from the European Union, that the biggest concern when it comes to regulation of cryptocurrencies is the compliance with AML and anti-terrorist financing. AML is the anti-money laundering laws that every specific country has, and the anti-terrorist financing, I don't have to explain that to you, hopefully. Of course, that's a very important thing. We don't want Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to get into terrorist hands. A lot of countries have already issued regulatory framework and regulation for that, and a lot of countries haven't, especially the US until now. But as for the big negative stances from the European Union on the Libra project, we now have the US, who actually says that the Libra project is not as bad as they thought, and they could imagine it to take place in the US. And that probably also plays in with China announcing that they want to launch a digital currency in next year. So the US is also pressured in adopting that technologies, in doing research on cryptocurrencies, on a digital state currency probably too. So I'm not very shocked about this information that the US is interested in a project like the Libra project. However, and here I'm going back to the article I have been reading to you, at the hearing, Mnuchin also said the US is unlikely to develop a digital currency in the near term, Bloomberg wrote. Powell and I have discussed this. Mnuchin said, we both agree that in the near future, in the next 5 years, we see no need for the Fed to issue a digital currency. The hearing also saw questions over China's plans to launch a digital yuan in the near future. The European Central Bank also made comments recently that it might launch a digital currency if traditional payment methods are not improved for consumers. So you see, digital currencies are a very big trend. The US stated that they won't adopt a digital currency in the near term, not in the next 5 years, Mnuchin said. But we also have news that the European Union is also thinking about launching a digital currency. And I'm pretty sure as soon as China is launching theirs, the US won't wait that long until they launch a digital currency themselves. I'm not sure if it's going to be a cryptocurrency. I don't think that. I think it's a digital currency, but that won't take as long as they say it here. I'm not an expert, as I already stated in previous podcasts. It's my personal opinion, but I honestly don't see the US waiting another 5 years until they figure out how this whole stuff works and until they bring an easier payment method to their citizens. So let me know what you think about this topic. What do you think about the statement of Mnuchin that the US actually is not that negative on Libra and the Libra project, but the US still sitting there without regulatory framework? And please also tell me in the comments down below what you think is the US going to do in the future concerning a digital currency, a digital US dollar that they probably will launch, if they are launching one in the near future, or if you think that Mnuchin is right that the US won't launch anything related to digital currencies in the next 5 years. So that's been it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content I provided. If you did so, please subscribe to the channel. That will mean a lot to me. Like the video if you like it, and I'll see you in the next one.